All right, guys. You know it's not Nick. It's your one and only Matt Stillboff here in Jersey Boys Sports Talk. I'm here with CB Garrett. As I said before, Nick is not here. What's going on, CB? Say it one more time, CB. Sorry, we lost connection for a sec. All right, go ahead.
It's been a pretty good week. A lot of sports going on, and we'll take you through it. And, of course, we'll take some shots at Nick because that's what we love to do when anyone is not here. So I'm sure we'll have some of that. And since Nick isn't here, we have a new phone number. So, Matt, why don't you take us through that?
Yeah, so the new phone number is going to be my number, 201-937-9176. One more time, 201-937-9176. So, CB, you just said that you trash whoever's not here. So does that mean that you trashed me last week because I was not there?
I actually don't think I did. I think it was mostly Nick.
I would think Nick, because I did not listen to it yet. I'll probably will listen to it after the show. Yeah, because it was a last minute thing, and Nick, since I did trash him a lot last week, or the last time he wasn't here, he probably took a good shot back right at me. So, anyway, so today on the show we got a lot going. We got a lot going on. We got a lot with the Cavs. First full week of the NBA season went through this week, or almost ending. So we'll talk about the Cavs, what's going on with them. Browns and Bengals game. We're talking about some Thursday Night Football game that we did not think we'd be talking about at the beginning of the NFL season. I certainly wasn't thinking about it. I don't know about CB here. College football, it's a crazy week. Survival week is what people have been calling it. Mark Sanchez, what's going to happen with him with Philly and how well he's going to do over the next 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. NBA and their issue with ankle sprains, MLB awards, and more about college football. So, one more time, number 201-937-9176. So let's start off, let's tip off today with the Cavs. LeBron and Kyrie, really there's been rumors that both of them have not been getting along. Not exactly sure. People are saying they've gotten into arguments. They're 2-3 right now, the Cavs. They lost to a buzzer beater against the Utah Jazz, a team that was either in last place or second last place in the West last year. Lost to the Trailblazers and lost to the Knicks the first game of the year. They beat the Nuggets, though, last night, which was a good win for them. But still, giving up 101 points, which is still a lot of points for any team that LeBron's on. Over 100 is not acceptable for him. Do have a pretty easy schedule, though, coming up with the Pelicans, who actually is it's tough right now with Anthony Davis on fire. Celtics, Hawks, Nuggets again. So, CB, do you think, issues with LeBron and Kyrie are true? And do you think the Cavs are going to eventually rebound and become the top team in the East that we all thought they would be?
I actually think that they'll be okay at some point down the road. And again, LeBron and Kyrie have vehemently denied the fact that they've been exchanging words. They say they're coming along well. Either way, their play on the court has still been a struggle as they've had some issues. Again, they've had a game earlier this year where they only had 6 assists, and so they haven't completely been in sync. But they have the best player in the NBA on their team, and anytime you have that, you still have a fighting chance to win any game, even when nothing's going right. So I think this team will find their stride. I don't know if they're going to be the best team in the East. I really think the Bulls are going to have a good shot at that. I am certainly biased in that. But what I've seen from them, they're the deepest team in the NBA, and they've still yet to put a full team on the court with either Rose or Noah or Taj Gibson missing a game. And they've still been able to get off to a 5-1 start. So I think this is a team that is going to be hard for the Cavs to catch. But I think they'll find their stride soon enough. But now whether those words of an exchange are true or not. Now, usually those things are, and they're going to deny them anyway. But I think that's something to be expected when you have some discomfort with players early in the season. But I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, the Bulls 5-1 right now. Only lost to Cleveland, and almost lost to the Sixers. Which I don't know what's going on there, CB. Almost losing to the Sixers. It's kind of sad in its own part. I think the Cavs are going to be fine. I mean, they got so much talent on that team. I mean, it's like impossible for them not to be a winning team and a team not to even make the playoffs. Kyrie looked pretty good last night. LeBron looked decent. He Still, I still don't see LeBron being that aggressive. He still is not aggressive. He's still trying to be like a coach. We even saw. Did you see him in the middle of the game? Did you see him get off the bench and like start coaching the team almost in the middle of the game? Did you see that actually, CB?
I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's something he's gotten used to, and a lot of times he basically was the coach in Miami. And you're going to see a lot of veterans a lot of times do things like that. And especially with the coach who's new to the NBA, you might even see LeBron helping out, or even some of the other veterans like Mike Miller on that team. But I don't think that's the biggest problem. I think they're going to find their stride. And when you have the best player in the NBA, now it's going to take some adjusting for Kyrie and Kevin Love, who played on teams where they were easily the feature of that team, and they were not on good teams, and it's going to take some time for them to get used to the important games and the fact that they're not going to have to score every possession for their team to have a chance of winning a game, and that's just something that they'll get used to with time, and I think this team will find their stride soon enough.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a similar. I don't think people, are starting to freak out a little bit about Cleveland being under 500 right now, 2-3. But I mean, we have to remember when the Heat, when LeBron was on Miami and they first started the Big Three, we saw the Heat struggle. They lost their first game to the Celtics. They did struggle as a team, and people were at Eric Spoelstra's heads and wondering if the Heat team was really what everybody thought they were going to be, and it turned out to be just fine. So I don't see any problem with the Cavs. They got good bench players. They got the talent. I see them being fine by the end of the season. I see them as a top 2 seed in the East. And for the playoffs, well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how far they go. But LeBron is looking to continue his streak of going to 5 straight NBA Finals this year. So it'll be interesting seeing. Still a lot of games left to go. 77 for the Cavs left this year, so long season. I think we'll resume this in March, and we'll talk about this, and we'll realize that there was really nothing to worry about the Cavs all along. So moving on. So we just talked about some little basketball there. Now we're going to be continuing to football. NFL, Thursday night game. Browns absolutely demolished the Bengals. Wasn't even close. Browns now 6-3, I believe. Yeah, 6-3. Looking like a really good winning team out there. Without Johnny Manziel on the field either. Andy Dalton looked absolutely awful. He was 10 for 33, about 80 yards or so, and 3 picks. -3 fantasy points for you fantasy guys. Just absolutely terrible. So, CB, I want to ask you, did you see the Browns as real contenders now, or did you see the Bengals as a team that's not as good as you maybe thought they were?
I think the Browns are better than most people think. Now, I think the Bengals still had poor performance again. They're without their running back, Giovanni Bernard, and Jeremy Hill didn't really have that good of a game. And A.J. Green's still getting reacclimated in that offense after missing a couple of weeks. But I think this Browns team is for real. Now, they're sitting at 6-3, and they have one really bad loss to the Jaguars. But other than that, they've been in pretty much every game. And they had a bad loss with some missed field goals by Billy Cundiff to Baltimore. And they also lost on opening day to the Steelers in the last second field goal. So they've been in every game they've played. And I think this is a team that's not getting respect they deserve. They're doing this without their best player, Josh Gordon, who after one more game, they'll get him back from suspension. That's going to add a whole different element to this team. When you infuse last year's number 1 receiver onto a team that's already playing well, it's a big difference. And I think that this team is really going to hit their stride once Josh Gordon comes back. Brian Horier's been playing exceptional. Now, he's not going to wow you with his stats, but he's really managed the game well, does not turn the ball over a lot. And that's what this team needs. They now have a 3-headed monster, so to speak, with Isaiah Crowell, Terrence West, and Ben Tate in the running game. And now they're going to all split carries, and it'll keep them all fresh. And then they have Hoyer, who is not throwing the ball a lot compared to last year, where they threw the ball on almost 75% of their plays. This year, they're only about 53% pass. Now, when Josh Gordon comes back, that might change. It gives them even more of a balance. And again, they were also playing without Andrew Hawkins this week, who has been a great receiver for them this year, and as well as Jordan Cameron, who was a very good tight end for them, especially last year. So I think once they get healthy and they have a bye week and then one more game, they'll get Josh Gordon back. And I think this team's really going to hit their stride in the second half of the season. I think this is a team that could really win that divisional title.
All right. I'm looking at the NFC North right now. I mean, all teams except for the AFC North. Sorry, AFC North. All teams are over 500. So it's a pretty good division. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Won't be the same at the end of the year. In my opinion, I'm concerned for the Bengals because they tied a Panthers team who really hasn't been that great this year. They got killed by New England, shut out by Indy, and just got killed by the Browns. Not even close. And also, I'm noticing here. Actually, never mind. And they got a tough schedule. The schedule is not easy that, Cincinnati's got to go through. I really don't think they're going to make playoffs. They got to play New Orleans. At New Orleans, so home, New Orleans at home is a whole different team they are away. At Houston, even in Tampa Bay, I could see them losing, to be honest. It's definitely a possibility. Then they go to Pittsburgh. Then they play Cleveland again. Then they play against Denver and at Pittsburgh again. So it's gonna be tougher. It's gonna be tough for Cincinnati. Andy Dalton's really gonna have to step up within the next few weeks. They got some breaks. Cincinnati, beating Atlanta, beating Tennessee, even tying Carolina and beating Jacksonville. So, getting some easy wins throughout the year. But now this is their tough part of the schedule that they're really gonna have to work hard and. I think they have to be a 10-11 win team if they want to make playoffs. And it's going to be tough within this stretch. All right.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if they're exactly a playoff team. I think the Steelers are starting to hit their stride. And I think, especially with how Ben Roethlisberger is playing, I think Baltimore's a stronger team than Cincinnati right now. Mohamed Sanu has really helped that offense out. But I just don't know if their defense is going to hold up like they've been wanting them to. Andy Dalton's really been struggling as well. And I just think that it's in a tough division. I really think the Browns are going to win, especially when they get Josh Gordon back. And then the Steelers playing really well, and Baltimore's a good team. I think Cincinnati's going to really, really struggle to make the playoffs this year.
All right. So moving on now. So we just talked about Browns going – big college football week this week, Stevie. I don't know if you heard. It was survival week this week for college football. A lot of teams, this is do or die for them either to make the playoffs or not. And we have seen a few upsets today. We saw, I'm going to say Notre Dame game was an upset. Would you agree with that? ASU beating Notre Dame as an upset, technically?
I guess it technically would be.
It's technically not an upset, but I think most people were expecting Notre Dame to win that game. I think they were.
I wouldn't really consider it an upset. I would say it was a pretty even game. Obviously, not the result in the field was even, but I think that the two teams matching up were pretty close to even going into it. And Arizona State proved that I was really wrong with that. But I kind of did think Arizona State was going to win, but I certainly didn't expect them to.
Yeah, and in case you don't know what we're talking about here, Arizona State today beat Notre Dame 55-31. 4 picks and a fumble recovery, I think, for the ASU defense. Just really having it with Golston and the rest of the offense. And ASU was, at one point did not score for about a quarter and a half and then scored 3 touchdowns in the last 6 minutes of the game. Notre Dame didn't make a comeback, and I think we're winning at one point. I have to look that over again.
No, they didn't.
They were close. They were very close. At one point, it was 31-34 ASU. With 6 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. And ASU just piled it on in the last 6 minutes. There was a pick six, 2 pick sixes in the game actually today for ASU. And it, Notre Dame's chances now are probably to making the playoffs are probably gone.
Because they're not going to be able to beat even with 2 losses. It's going to prove to be. And
they did lose to 2 very good teams. People are probably getting even more mad about the Florida State loss, saying whether that was a PI or not. They really do not have a tough schedule now. Northwestern, Louisville, and USC. Teams that really aren't that tough. Louisville almost beat Florida State, but rankings-wise, it's not going to make that big of a difference in their rankings. So Notre Dame is probably not going to make the playoffs. Another upset today. Auburn, number 3 team in the country, lost to Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they do get killed in some games, but they do like to make some upsets, right? Did beat South Carolina, who was number 9 at one point in the country, almost beat Mississippi